Welcome to City Beat. I'm Susie Vestevich, and across the stage is my partner, James Whalin. Between us is the Wrenfields. They were nominated for 5 Detroit Music Awards, and they are the winner of 3. Flash them.
There's one.
You were a little slow. Number 3. And today we're going to listen to them. They're fantastic. We're down at 5th Avenue Live. And James.
So, want to take a second to introduce everybody. Noreen, can you introduce the band for us?
Well, right next to you is our keyboard player, Dave Behrman. Next to him is our bass player, Frankie Budman Bud, on Bass in Love. For the ladies, just kidding. Next to me here is our drummer, co-lead singer, John Pyro. Right here is Tom Morgan. He's our lead guitarist and pedal steel player. And next to him is Matt O'Brien, our rhythm guitarist. And we got the B-man out there. Oh, I'm Noreen. I'm the co-lead singer.
So, tell me, how long have you guys been together as this group is the way it is right now? John?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half. And has Noreen always been in the band then, when you first started the band?
Yes.
And tell me about the name. Where'd you guys come up with the name for the Wrenfields? Is there a story behind
it was
that?
a name I just kind of stumbled on. I was looking for something that had a good, warm, wholesome kind of feel to it. So, kind of a family name in a way. You know?
It's a family name in a way. You guys all came from another band I know, the Miracle Berries. Is that sort of where you guys all met? Tell me how you met each other.
Well, it's kind of a long story. I auditioned for a band that just didn't do anything, and the guitarist and I decided to put a band together, and that's where I met Frank and John. And we added Matt a little bit later, and then that person left, and it was just the 4 of us.
And then at what point did you add Noreen and Dave?
That was about, well, Noreen, we started with her about 2 years ago, and Dave about a year and a half ago.
Dave was the session keyboardist on the Miracle Berries CD.
Mm-hmm.
He was an acquaintance of ours, and eventually became a member.
Now, you guys have had wonderful reviews by critics, which I was amazed that everybody had positive things to say about you, and you've shared the stage with a lot of famous people. Mitch Ryder, Rhythm Corps, Spencer Davis, Sponge, Tony Orlando, and Chuck Berry. Now, going forward, I know you guys have exciting things. You're opening for the Roselle Yacht Club and downtown the Detroit Hoedown, and most importantly, I want somebody to tell me about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What's going on with that?
Matthew? Yeah. Well, we actually, Noreen and Tom and I think, went down to Cleveland, and we went and saw Al Cooper, who's a producer, and he was doing a one-man show, which is very interesting. Strange guy.
Cooper with a K.
Yeah. But, yeah, not Alice Cooper, Al Cooper. And after the show, we went and met him, and his manager is David Sparrow, who's a vice president of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he's also Ringo Starr and Joe Walsh's manager. So we started talking to him, and he's the nicest guy in the whole world, and we've been in contact with him, and he's going to have us down and play at the Hall of Fame.
That's really
cool.
exciting.
Yeah.
Now, you've had that kind of luck with your producer as well, right? Tyler Brown?
Yeah, that's an interesting
Tyler
story.
Brown, we're going to have an interview with him in a little bit. I had it last weekend. But Tyler Brown has done some phenomenal things with artists that are known nationally as well as now locally. So now, how did you meet Tyler?
Well, it was like a Wednesday night, and I'm sitting at my computer about 7 o'clock, and all of a sudden a window pops up from Napster, because we had Napster loaded on my computer, and I had some Jayhawk songs, and Tyler had sent me an instant message and said, thanks for the songs. And I emailed him back, or instant messaged him back and said, are you a Jayhawks fan? And he said, well, I'm trying to get inspired because I'm going down to produce Mark Olson's new album. He was the ex-lead singer. So I said, oh, okay. So we exchanged email addresses, and about 10 or 15 days later, I emailed him and talked to everybody in the band and said, what do you think of getting Tyler involved with the project? And he said yes, and that was all how it happened. It was just chance that I was sitting there and found out, we had this quick conversation, found out what he was doing and who he was. So
It's
it
pretty
really worked
exciting.
out well, yeah.
And then you guys ended up recording your 21st Century Pioneer album at the Compound.
Right.
What's the Compound? Where did it come from?
I don't know where it came from. It's my house, and it's kind of set up for music. It's just pretty much the whole place. You know, we live there, and I live there, and studio's in the basement, and we record drums in one of the rooms, and vocals in another room. And it's all wired.
Yeah, the whole house
Rock
is
and roll
wired.
house.
I think it was back when Matt first joined the band, that whole David Koresh compound thing was going on, and the studio was just ours to record in, and friends getting together. At that point, it was the Miracle Berries. Just writing music, and nobody else was coming over, and it was like the compound. It was sort of humorous because nobody was allowed in. We were recording there, and it was on the news, and so we called it the compound.
Yeah, it's
By the way, we have a new compound in the works here. Matt bought a new
I
house.
bought a new house last
and
week,
it's
so
Bigger
pulling
and
all the
better.
Wired
cable
all
out.
up.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
have isolated
Yeah,
rooms.
bigger and
Compound
better.
Resort is what this one
Yeah,
is.
the compound resort and villas is the new one.
It has a swimming pool, so.
So the new owners to the old compound will be quite surprised to find wiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is wiring in the bathroom.
Yeah, basically.
Exactly.
Did you guys start recording first, or did you start playing out live? I mean, I know that you write a lot of the songs, but what started first? You know, the chicken or the egg question.
As far as the writing,
As far as writing and playing live.
as far as writing goes, these guys will always like give either Noreen or myself a song, like the music, what kind of worked out, and then we'll just plop some lyrics down to it. And as far as playing live, yeah, we practice quite a bit.
Yes.
We started jamming.
Yeah, some of the songs
First jamming
transition.
writing. Yeah.
Transition from
Definitely
Miracle
had some
Berries
tunes.
and some other things that we had been working out with Noreen.
How long did it take you guys to record the album?
We started in April with the final tracks, and we were done. It was sent to mastering in July, so it was pretty quick for being part-time. I mean, we all had jobs, and we would, after work or on the weekends, we would record.
Did you guys get a chance to play them live before you recorded them?
Oh,
Or-
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
we
you
had them
play
all
them
worked
live
out.
and get them down.
Yep.
Where do you guys get the ideas for like a lot of the songs that you do? Where do you write all the lyrics?
Well, both Noreen and
Sure.
I write lyrics. And,
I like to kind of stay on the lighter side of life. You know, I like inspiration myself, and I like to be inspired. John's a good storyteller.
I just kind of let the song talk to me.
You kind of join up
Music, I should
words
say.
with what you hear the music is
Right.
saying to you. Tell me about the title track off the album, "The 21st Century Pioneer," that we're going to hear in a second. Tell me about that song.
I was feeling kind of hazy on a Sunday morning, and I was kind of gathering myself after waking up, and I was sitting at the kitchen table. I was living in East Dearborn at the time, and I was looking out the window and looking at the BT sign out my kitchen window, and I was like, I'm just, putting into perspective, and I just, it was springtime, and the grass was green, and that's, it just started, the grass is pretty green, I was just it was like pondering, and it didn't mean to get turned into a song. They just, Tom started, started playing.
She
this
writes a
rhythm.
lot. She'll just write
Yeah.
thoughts.
We were, actually, when we wrote that song, we were just goofing around in the basement when you started to put those words to the music, and I was banging out chords, basically, and they
That's the way it
sounded good,
happens.
so I tried to remember them.
Let's take a listen to a song right now off the Wrenfields, 21st Century Pioneer.
The grass is pretty green from this angle. Sometimes I need to slow down to an end-time speechless solitude for a panoramic view. I don't think there's confusion, but what I know, I second guess myself sometimes. people, they say these things. Could it be a sheep in wolf's clothing? And the more she says, my peers may laugh at me for my point of view. They might not say I second guess myself sometimes. Just because I can't see, it doesn't mean I'm not blind. But sometimes it is easy to turn the other cheek. At what point do I speak?
Hi, welcome back to City Beat. I'm Susie Vestevich, and I'm here with Tyler Brown. He's the producer of the Wrenfields 21st Century Pioneer. Welcome to WROK, and welcome to Detroit.
Thank you, Susie.
Okay, now, Tyler, you are the founder of Blue Jordan Records down in Cincinnati, Ohio. How in the whole world did you team up with the Wrenfields up here in Detroit?
Well, it was a completely serendipitous meeting. I was scheduled to go down to Mississippi to work on Mark Olson's new band, the Creek Dippers, work on engineering a project for them down there. I hadn't heard a lot of Jayhawks, which was Mark's former band, so I was on Napster stealing music from, borrowing music from other computer users to find out where Mark had been musically the last several years. And I was downloading a song, and I often thank people when I'm stealing music from them. Hey, thanks for the tune. Happened to be Matt O'Brien from the Wrenfields I was taking the music from, and he was sitting on his computer. He chimed back, hey, are you a fan? I said, well, actually, I'm going down to Mississippi to work on their new project. And it turned out that they're an alt-country band, too. I'm pointing over here because Matt's over there. A week after I got back from Mississippi, there was an email from Matt that said, hey, would you be interested in coming up to Detroit and working on our project that we're wrapping up now? That was it.
To the mountains, fill me with the wonder, the nature of the landscape, the beauty that it gives. Yeah, all that she gives. Why, it's maybe not a Rembrandt, surely no Picasso. Softly with my brush stroke, I paint the world that is. Oh, just how it is. I choose from my palette of colors, beautiful as the sun, it's so wondrous. Watercolor, feel the flowers. With my blossoms hopeless, they run. It's so wondrous. I sit along a split great reason is the fans for studying the subject of water and the bridge. Yeah, the whole covered bridge. Why, it's maybe not a Monet, surely not a Van Gogh. Something with my brush stroke that guides me from within. Oh, the love from within. I choose from my palette of color. Beautiful as the sun, it's so wondrous. Paint on watercolor, feel the flowers. Though my blossoms hopelessly run, it's so wondrous. Wondering, so wondering, so wondering, wondering, so wondering, so wondering, so wondering, so wondering, so wondering, so Rembrandt, surely no Picasso. Softly with my brush stroke I paint the world that is. Oh, just how it is. I choose from my palette of color. Beautiful as the sun, it's so wondrous. Paint on watercolor, feel the flowers. Though my blossoms hopelessly run, it's so wondrous. It's so wondrous.
What a great song. We're back, and we're back with the Wrenfields.
Sported.
Okay, now, Noreen, the lead singer, or co-lead singer for the band, you have an exciting story. Everybody in Michigan, or at least in the Detroit area, was very excited about the Tom Arnold wedding years ago. Noreen played at that wedding. Noreen, how did this happen?
I was in a band, a cover band in Allen Park. We were called Killer Flamingos, and we played at Simon's. We were the house band there. And the Julie Champanella used to come up and see us play, and she hooked up with Tom Arnold, and she brought him up, and he kind of thought we were interesting, so he, asked to have us play at his wedding. And Chris Farley was his best man, and that was my highlight of the situation. So, love Chris Farley. So.
Now, what happened with Chris Farley? I know you had a moment with him.
Yeah. Well, we were playing, and they were eating. They were sitting at the table eating, and a girl came up and she said, Chris Farley wants to meet you. He thinks you have a nice voice. And I just kind of, I get a little weirded out, so I got nervous, and I didn't bother, going up to him. I didn't want to interrupt him while he was eating. So I was sitting out in the hallway later on and talking to a friend from junior high, and he, walks up, and, I was blah, blah, blah talking, and, I look up, I hear, hey, nice voice, and I look up, and I see this, Hawaiian shirt, and I look up a little further, and I see a scream, and I look up a little further, and I see blue eyes, and I was like, wow, Chris Farley. I was like, choke. So, and he had a gorgeous babe on his arm, and he was, going to eat his ice cream and hang out with the babe. So I was like, cool. I couldn't say anything, but I choked.
That's great. So most of you are from the Miracle Berries or Killer Flamingos, but Dave Berman has an interesting background. You have played for the Detroit Tigers, for the Red Wings. You played with Chuck Berry?
Mm-hmm.
How in the heck did you do that?
I started playing at about age 16, got very serious about being a musician, and the last 16 years I've just played in a multitude of bands all over town, out of town, and met Matt back in about 1989 in college at Henry Ford Community College, and just kept in touch with him all the time. I knew he was putting bands together and stuff like that, and went out to see the Wrenfields and thought that they had something good. So it was shortly after they put the band together, and just decided to pursue it. I'm continuing playing solo stuff because I'm making a living at it, and this band is recording and getting ready to hopefully move to the next level. So yeah, I've played with a few different people.
How was it playing for the sporting events for the Tigers and the Red Wings?
It was very cool. The Tigers gig was very relaxed. Baseball's kind of a slow sport. Hockey was crazy. And the hockey Oregon thing didn't last as long because it's too much going on at a hockey game. There's too many announcements and stuff like that. It's a little harder. But the baseball thing lasted 2 years, and it was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it.
Tell us about the sound that's been, no band ever wants to be classified as a certain kind of music, but you guys have gotten the label of being alternative country. What does that really mean?
It's twangy rock.
It's basically what it
Americana.
is. It's blues, traditional country, rock,
Into bluegrass.
little pop, little bluegrass.
I'll mix it.
Yeah,
It's really
kind of
rock
catch-all name.
flavored with some country. So you stick to the conventions of country music as far as the lyrics and the song structure goes. And we borrow a lot of the instrumentation, as you see with the pedal steel, and banjo and mandolin, instruments like that.
Did you get sort of a preconceived notion when people come to see you and they read that in the paper that it's a country band, and people come and they expect a certain thing, expect you to be wearing cowboy hats and boots and doing a boot scooting boogie or whatever across the stage?
There's nothing wrong with that.
People sort of expect that out of you or request certain things.
I haven't noticed it myself.
Yeah, people are usually surprised by our sound.
Yeah.
Some people say, well, there's a lot of rock in that country, which is true.
Right.
We all come from the rock side, but we throw the country element and we think it kind of softens things.
We're getting into the older, we're really appreciating, the "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," the birth, the roots of, and country, the roots of country and rock, and we're, I'm appreciating a lot of older country music too right now. So.
Who would you say some of your influences are that are producing this alternative country sound?
Definitely the Jayhawks.
Yeah, Wilco,
Wilco, Ryan Adams,
Sheryl
Sheryl Crow,
Uncle Tupelo.
Lucinda.
Lucinda.
Beatles. I gotta get
Beatles,
Beatles.
yeah.
Any
We're all-
pinks in there?
man.
Most of us are Beatles.
Just trying.
David Byrne.
Now, I understand you guys kind of get out of control at times, and sometimes Frank Budd has to calm you down with his more straightforward auditor, Federal Reserve background.
I don't think so.
It's the other way
Frank's out
around
of
somehow.
control. We're trying to calm him down.
He's our cartoon character.
No,
Yeah, I like
it's
that.
funny. Both the two of you, Frank and Tom, you both are self-taught
Yes.
guitarists.
Yeah. Yeah, sweet.
And now, Tom, you're writing an instructional guide for guitar. I'm going to pick that up when it's ready. So,
Cool.
how's that coming on? Is it ready? Is it
No.
no?
It's a ways off.
Oh, okay.
Work in process.
Yeah.
I understand.
That was how I met Tom. I started taking guitar lessons from him.
Oh, okay.
A long time ago.
15 years. almost.
15 years ago.
So this is your prize student?
No.
No.
He's still taking lessons.
Yeah, whatever.
So you were playing the steel guitar,
Yes.
steel
the
pedal
steel.
guitar.
I've
What's
had-
that like, and how's that different?
It's a
It's pretty
it's a
weird.
pain in the butt. It's a very temperamental instrument, but it's a lot of fun. It's really different. I just started playing it about a year ago, and I looked up some things on the internet about it, and everybody that plays it said it's very addicting. You're just going to get hooked to this, and they're right.
What,
I love
what is your
playing it.
favorite song that you played on?
Pedal steel on.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say. Probably Rise Above or Happy, the new one. One of the new
Well,
ones.
why don't we go to Rise Above and see you play the pedal steel guitar, and then we're going to talk about where that song came from.
Okay.
So let's take a listen to Rise Above.
You are amazing. The strength in which you rise to the occasion. Planted for every window fight. intent to carry home the prize and prove to be the one who rises above, be the one who rises above, be the one who rises above it all, the one who rises above. Now the road winds for out your front door. You found the peace of mind that you've been searching for. Wear your new diamonds on your car, dressed to the nines and let them shine, and prove to be the one who rise above, be the one who rise above, be the one who rise above, all the one who rise above. Rise above, be the one who rise above, be the one who rise above it all, the one who rise above.
Detroit has tons of talent, as we've seen over the years, from the Wrenfields to Madonna, Kid Rock, everybody. So all the people in Detroit that have been practicing and they want to get a good producer's attention, what do they do? What is your advice? And what don't they do?
You know, word of mouth and who you know, friend of a friend is a pretty big deal in the music industry. And more than that, I think artists should be true to themselves, play what they love to play, and not even think about, am I going to get discovered? Am I going to make it big? Because I think that this, it destroys the art of music when you do that. I mean, there have been lots of people who've been successful that way, but I think there's a beauty in doing what you love to do, the way you love to do it, and if something magical and good happens out of it in a commercial framework, then that's gravy. That's good.
I understand that you are one heck of a performer. And in fact, besides playing musical instruments, you are gifted at pushing the buttons and engineering, and you were self-taught at that, or quite by accident, or how did that happen?
Well, like every kid who wants to be a rock star, I was playing in bands, in clubs, and in bars and that sort of thing. And a common problem is the sound would suck. It was awful. And I got to the point where I would run back to the sound guy and see what he was doing, seeing what was fixing it. And I found out quite by accident that I was pretty good at pushing the buttons and making things sound how I wanted them to sound. And gradually I got good enough at it that people would say, why don't you mix for us instead of playing drums or guitar or whatever in the band? And so I became a live sound engineer, which eventually involved into doing stuff in the studio with people. It doesn't always translate that way, but I was okay in the studio too, and so I became a glorified button pusher.
What is your favorite Renfield song?
Well, on 21st Century Pioneer, there's several that I like to listen to and turn up the volume to magnificent levels at home. But I think probably my favorite is Rise Above, because it was written for Matt, who a couple of years ago went through some pretty incredible physical health hardships, and the band, as a band, pulled together and never never considered, going without Matt, and they rallied around him, and by the grace of God, Matt is healthy today. But that song, to hear one of Matt's friends write something like that about him, that is so heartfelt and exposing, and be a really cool song, is pretty awesome. I like to listen to it.
Glory to the Father. God forbid her wings are ever broken. School bell in the chapel rings. Wishful thoughts are dangling, like the swaying legs of rebels on an old porch swing. This evening, as we spot a shooting star up in the sky, she believes an angel learned to fly. Romantic in every way, from my poetry to the bouquet, off the neighbor's rose of Sharon, catching butterflies. Kissing me, she closed her eyes. Forgot her daddy put a curfew on the time that we could spend this evening. As we spot a shooting star up in the sky, she believes an angel learned to fly. 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 Oh yeah. She believes an angel learned to fly. Courtney Christian girl was up all night. Courtney Christian girl. Courtney Christian girl was up all night. Courtney Christian girl. Courtney Christian girl was up all night. Courtney Christian girl. shut the back door. Cruise for a mile or 20. And hey man, I smell something funny. We just passed a patrol train. Got another mile or two. Till we get to Kalamazoo. Reading all the bumper stickers. And in the rear view I saw something thicker. Must have been another patrol train. Sitting at a light by a bearded man. Driving his own W van. He looked over and gave me a smile. We come all the way from Ohio. Riding along in a patrol train. So where do we go from here? Where's a good place to grab a beer? I said, hey man, follow me. I'm going where you wanna be. Right alongside the patrol train. Right alongside the patrol train. So we found a spot. We pulled in the parking lot. Before we went inside, we lit the fire machine and the patrol ride. Out to board the patrol train. You can't complain about the patrol train. So get on board the patrol train.
Hi, welcome back. That was great, guys. I just really love the sound. There's something in your sound that I hear that's it's very melodic. I'm a fan of like I said, like the Beatles and Crowded House and that kind of like Mitchell Froom sort of melodic sound. Is that something that you guys ever look into the music to see, well, maybe see if I can change this, or is it just something that you guys just your individual things come out, your individual personalities come out?
We don't want everybody stepping on each other, so everybody tries to play their part and have some dynamics to the music. It's really important.
Now I noticed when you were playing, you have 6 different guitars.
Yeah, well,
Explanation for that.
lots of different tunings, and I break strings, so I like to have backups.
We have a good mixture of styles in this band, so we listen to each other, and after we've played the song 5 or 6 times, we start to
Yeah, it
play
becomes
off
more
of
of an
each
organic,
other.
yeah, more of an organic process.
And we are very
That's what
conscious
we try.
of trying to be melodic because of the genre that we're in,
Now I know that the song "Rise Above" was written for you, Matt, by Tom and John. Now where did this stem from? What happened?
2 years ago, I was diagnosed with leukemia, and I was in the hospital for 3 months, and kind of put the project on hold for a bit. From my standpoint, they still got together and wrote, and Tom had the music, and John was inspired to write these lyrics, which, coming out of the hospital when I was real sick, inspired me to get better. And when I was having a bad day, I'd think about it, and it would really help me through the day. So, thank you.
And you're in complete remission
Yeah,
now?
complete remission.
So
and-
no worry that Matthew Perry is... O'Brien, Matthew O'Brien. Okay, well, let's go to another song, and we'd like to thank you for joining us today at City Beat. I'm Susie Vestevich. I'm with James Whalin on the other side of the stage, and the Wrenfields are between us.
out to dry till her look caught my eye. So she dressed scantily, her caboose had locomotion-y, yeah. She welcomed me to put my hand south of the equator, understand, while she was blazing like wearing all my next to none. Coochie, 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 cool. Coochie, 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 cool. Coochie, 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 cool. Mama, coochie, 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 cool. Love had blown from her lips, out of her hand it flew a kiss, landed smack on my cheek, yeah, and on a lucky street, yeah. The bells and lights are on for show, easy come, easy go. That one-armed bandit's gotta go. Now my prize equals none. Coochie, 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 cool. Coochie, 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 cool. Coochie, 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 cool. Mama, coochie, 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 cool. Till I win or lose or roll the dice. Will a payout soon come to pass? Began to slur her name over fine champagne. How did it all happen so fast, 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 fast? It was hot, overload. I was bound to explode. Lost it down out of the night. She got the boogie woogie wishbone eyes, yeah. She welcomes me to put my hand south of the equator, understand, while she was blazing like the sun, wearing all but next to none. Coochie, 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 cool. Coochie, 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 cool. Coochie, 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 cool. Mama, coochie, 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 cool. Coochie, coochie, cool. Coochie, coochie, cool. Coochie, 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 cool. Mama, coochie, 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 cool. Coochie, coochie, mama. Welcome home, please, coming out of the rain with a smile she lacked. Did you find the place okay? Round the table, sparkling with grace, let us raise a glass, toast this long-awaited stay. But if you leave, that would make me blue. Feel you reaching out for something new. I'll keep hoping through this will remain. Until then we must say goodbye. Oh, we must say goodbye. Sat till midnight, such a warm summer embrace meant the opening of a seam that frayed. Place a candle beside the picture frame in the light of hope. Our friendship will remain, yeah. But if you're leaving, that would make me blue. Feel you reaching out for something new. I'll keep hoping through this will remain. Until then we must say goodbye. Oh, we must say goodbye. Goodbye. It's the one thing I thought you would do. Open all the blinds and let the sun shine through. They'll reach down in my pocket for some change, but for now my days